let's be our. I tell you what, dude. People, for whatever reason, they think, okay, I know better than this guy. He's sending cap. I'll send range. Get zipped. If you've watched my channel for any amount of time, you know that I've done garrison traps like this, and I have done it enough times that it's like, I don't care if you send 10 plus people at me, guys. I will just filter out the ones that I want and then hit. So you guys know, garrison trapping is by far the easiest, but also probably the most dangerous thing you could possibly do in Lloyd's Mobile. Now, I say this as somebody that's a billion might. Okay, I've dealt with it. I have rallied people left and right. I have soloed people. I've trapped, rally trapped, quad rallies, and all of the, the whole shebang. And I will tell you that for anybody that wants to do this, okay, I am doing 800% cav stats. You don't necessarily need to send cavalry. Okay. One of the strategies that I like to employ is I start out with cavalry when these people do not know what they're dealing with, right? Because this component to the way this works is really kind of a two-step ordeal, okay? First thing is you need the bait. What that bait is really up to you. You could have, I don't know, a really completely terrible account that maybe has T4s that you don't mind healing. Or what you can do, in my case, is what I do is I basically scrounge up 500 million across. It's really easy to do in Dead Kingdoms, at least in my experience, because you can find a bunch of 30 mil as far as cheap resource counts go. Or you can just take it out of your bags, which is kind of what I do. I mean, it's just a little easier. I just have access, but again, this is more something that you want to do and plan ahead. So when you do it, it's fun, but obviously the lucrative side of this is really where, okay, let's say you grab a couple liters. Well, turn around, sell the liters for gold, usually 200 to 300 mil a pop, maybe 500 mil if you can get them to do it, and that continues the cycle. Now, obviously, you store all these resources on the alternate account. The trick here is, okay, I've got to have either A, 2 phones, or be a computer and have BlueStacks on 2 emulators, or Nox on 2 emulators, Nemu, whatever emulator that you choose. And then you're basically going to, essentially, or even probably a friend even, if they're close next by or they can communicate over Discord, something like that. But you better be pretty in tune because this shit happens fast. Okay, but the main thing is counters, okay? Counters are by far the most important thing, and it's simple when you look at me do it, but believe me, you get quad solos, it becomes a little tricky as to, okay, how do I know if this will actually eat all 5? And a lot of the time, it's a gamble, it's a jamble. You don't really know. But I can tell you that infantry, for example, always beats range. Range will always beat cavalry, and cavalry will always beat infantry. Naturally, if you see an account with a lot of resources, what are the first 2 things that come to someone's mind? Well, A, I'm going to send a bunch of infantry to pull the most amount of resources due to army capacity. Or B, I'm going to send drakes for the faster, be able to march faster. Or C, which is, I think it's a trap and I'm going to send range on the off chance the guy's sending cavalry. But more often than not, even the experienced guilds, whether that be LH, whether that be even typical players that I run into, I can fool anybody just by sitting there watching to see what they send. And I can even send fake garrisons to just see what they're sending. So that if they think, oh, yeah, this is cavalry, I can just send range and then sit there and wait until they're like, ah, yes, I'm going to send range on range. And it's like, well, my range is going to beat your range, so I'm going to win. Because more often than not, if you've got decent gear, that's not a big deal. If you're somebody that is working with somewhat crappy gear or don't have a lot of stats, obviously this is where you don't want to jamble as much on range or imp on imp and cav on cav, because you're not going to have the stats to back it. So this is something that, while you guys are watching this, it's purely something that is for a very small, minute number of people, I happen to be probably one of the only people here that's capable of doing this. Now, I'm not by any means the guy who founded this idea. Frankly, I think Aster is probably the first person I remember uploading this kind of content, but I just don't see anybody doing this stuff anymore. It used to be really common, and frankly, I feel like a lot of people can benefit from this strategy because it's not one of those things that takes a lot of capital to do. You just need to be able to know that A, you need to be able to counter, B, you need to be very good at timing, and C, you probably need a lot of boots. Because the one thing that is a constant in this is that A, you're going to be going through a lot of relocators, a lot of random relocators, and then you're going to go through a lot of boots. And then resources, obviously, in case you're not really quick about it. So it's kind of, it's not like exactly something that I would recommend for beginner players by any means, but if you're an experienced player, been playing the game for a few years, have some extra resources on hand, or just happen to be feeling like, hey, let's try something new, this is a perfectly viable way to kind of build up, and frankly, it's even a neat way to be able to rally trap, because, what better settled way to get people to attack you than getting their leader? And through garrison trapping, you can do that. In fact, I've even done this, and you'll see this, where I'll garrison trap somebody, and conveniently, immediately after that, they get their leader capped, and they don't want to rally me because I've got so many troops. And that puts them in a 15-minute, crisis, because essentially now they don't have their leader, and everybody else knows that. So then you can rally them, and they get zeroed because they don't have a leader. I mean, it's the best, by far, capital way to do it. Now, okay, what about solo trapping? Well, the thing about solo trapping is, yeah, you can take a bunch of solos, but the moment you get rallied, you got to kaput. You got to give up that leader. If you're a rally trap, okay, that's great, but what happens if you get quad rallied? Now, the thing about this is yes, I have been in a situation where, okay, let's say I garrison trap somebody, and the first thing that happens immediately after is the guy is basically like dead set on getting his leader back, and he's going to basically fight me for it. Okay, when that happens, I go into rally trap mode. I basically start, okay, if he's sending imp, I'm going cav. If he goes range, I go imp. If he goes, and so on and so forth, right? But the main thing is that, yeah, if you get in that situation and you're doing one rally at a time, not a problem. Have 2 million or so T2, 1.5 million or so T4, and probably 600% or higher in one attack stat. And preferably, I like doing blasts. Now, some people do mixed sets if they can't afford doing a full blast set, and that's okay, but I can tell you that having a blast set is a lot easier to work with, especially when you're trying to deal with other players, so it really helps if your account was maybe more geared towards being a rally lead, which mine initially, that's kind of what I was gearing for, but then I got to realizing that, yeah, I'm dealing with people that spend literally $100,000 on the game, and I cannot compete with that. So I got realistic, and this is my realistic approach to playing the game. So with any luck, hopefully you find this stuff somewhat helpful, somewhat interesting, and maybe thought-provoking enough to get you excited about trying it. I know I make it look easy, but honestly, I'm surprised I didn't get capped in this entire KVK. I got 234 million points doing this, but I didn't get capped. That's the key, okay? I took, solos from LH. It doesn't matter if the guy's an Emperor player, okay? I hate to say it, but if you send Imp, I don't care if you got the best gear in the goddamn game. I can send Cav and you're gonna lose. I don't care if it's T5, okay? I have taken hits in T4 and destroyed T5. T5 has no recommendation in this, okay? It helps if you have it, but you don't need it. Like, if you're gonna do garrison trapping, it's not necessary. Now, if you're trying to do something like a T3 or T2 trap and you're doing it in a small kingdom, I actually think that might work. So for the people out there that you are, wanting to do that, feel free to upload it, try it, because honestly, you probably could do it. I really don't think, because the thing is most people that run into this kind of trap, they don't know how to counter it. I know how to counter it. I'll spoil it, okay? It's, don't send your good troops. Don't be an idiot, okay? Send ballista, send cheap T2. Don't try and take marches in T4 and T3, like, if you're doing that, you're doing it wrong. But unfortunately, I find more people that do it wrong than I do find it people that do it right. Now, That said, I hope you guys are somewhat intrigued by it. Feel free to watch. Thanks for watching. And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you like Lloyd's Mobile. Because, I kind of upload this kind of stuff, and I've been around for, 5-6 years. Been here since the start, almost. So I've been around. I've seen a thing or two. Anyway, see you guys.
to the best,